The South African Revenue Services is said to be losing over 7 billion rand this year alone to illicit tobacco trade. And this is according to a report that's been commissioned by the Tobacco Institute of South Africa. Francois Merwe is the CEO of the Institute, and he is in the studio to talk to me. Thank you, Francois. This, I guess, must be good news for the tobacco industry, because on the one hand, you're juxtaposing how perhaps this money could have been ending within the pockets of the South African Revenue Services, and now how, on the other hand, this is benefiting possibly criminal elements.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you very much. And that's why we realized there's a problem. But to give it credibility, we contracted an independent research house, Ipsos, and we said to them, go and have a look at the market and tell us how big it is. Tell us which the brands are, and tell us who manufactures those brands.
Right.
So that we can take that information and share it with government. And the revelations of the study were shocking, really, really shocking.
Give us a quick snapshot. The
research tells me that this year, 8 billion illegal cigarettes will be sold in this country in 1 year.
8 billion.
That is more than 1 million packs per day, sir.
Sure.
It is massive. That translates to, conservatively, more than 7 billion lost to SARS in 1 year. It is freely available. It is available in 3 out of 4 shops outside of the big chains.
Yeah.
It's available in more than 100,000 shops.
Sure.
And the research tells us that although there are multiple manufacturers responsible for this, 75% comes from one manufacturer, local manufacturer, which is registered by SARS and licensed by SARS.
Right. I want to ask who that manufacturer is, but I wanted to roll back a little bit and understand where this tobacco is being sold, that is, whose taxes are not ending up with the South African Revenue Services.
The tobacco products are sold all over the market. Another interesting finding from the research was that 80% of all cigarettes sold in this country goes through the non-organized trade. That is all the trade except for the organized chains. So it's a massive, massive shift to the non-organized trade. 80% of all cigarettes sold go through there. And it also showed that the average prices are around 10 Rand, where the minimum tax on a packet of cigarettes is 17 Rand 85.
Right. Now, who is this manufacturer? Are you able to name them without causing you and I problems?
Well, I asked the research house, Ipsos, to join the dots. And the research gave them brands. They pick up the brands in a retail audit in the market.
Yeah.
And with publicly available information, they can link the brands to the manufacturers.
Right.
And the manufacturer that's making the biggest contribution is Gold Leaf Tobacco Company.
Right.
Their brand portfolio is responsible for 75% of all products selling below tax rates in this country.
Do they have a defense?
I don't know, sir. I hear sometimes they say it's counterfeit products, it's not their products, but it's hard to believe that if almost all your products are counterfeited, where's your own products?
Okay, so we know SARS will be able to go after this specific manufacturer because that represents like a large slice of the problem. What about the people who are selling this product illegally, if you like?
We do not want to criminalize the businessmen on the street.
Right.
They are in business, they make money, and that's how they feed their families. The problem does not lie with small businessmen selling cigarettes or shops or corner cafes or whatever.
Sure.
The problem is that tobacco taxes are paid at the point of manufacture.
Right.
Before a manufacturer releases his products into the distribution channels, into the market, he must pay the duties.
Yeah.
And that's where the problem is. And the good news is that makes the solution also very simple, because government does not have to go and criminalize thousands of businessmen, 100,000 shops in this country.
Yeah.
They can simply stop the rot at the manufacturer.
If your supplier is a bona fide business person, you assume that they've got all their ducks in a row. I hear you. I want to ask our producers to see if they can get in touch with Gold Leaf Tobacco and see if we can get their side of the story, because I think it's important that we are balanced in this. How many cigarettes are smoked in South Africa?
Well, the market research tells us it's about 29.7 billion cigarettes per year.
Sure.
That's total consumption, of which 8 billion is now illegal.
Sure.
That's the problem. So the simple question to ask any company in this country, doesn't matter what your name is, if the minimum tax on a packet of cigarettes is 17.85, just tell me, how do you manage to sell it for 10 Rand a packet? It's clear that the taxes have not been paid.
Right. I wanted also to ask you, because I read a little bit around the research and the findings, and you say that the researchers did not include the shebeens as well as the stockfels. Sorry, it's shebeens and
moving hawkers.
The moving hawkers, the guys who are selling in the street. Okay. Conservatively, how big would that be? How would that market be?
I wouldn't know, sir, because that's the research house that must answer that. But the reason why it's excluded is because shebeens and taverns buy their stock from somewhere, so they exclude them for the fear of double counting. So they might count certain products double.
Okay.
The reason why mobile hawkers are excluded is because they work on a retail audit. So they go back to stores to audit them again.
Right.
And mobile roving hawkers are not at the same place every time.
Yeah.
So there's a very good reason why they've been excluded. So that's why we say the 8 billion cigarettes, or the third of that part of the market, is probably an underread or of a very conservative estimate.
Yeah, and I suppose also the other suggestion would be that they could well be sourcing outside of your normal system because they're trying to find as much margin as they can, because they are selling at the bottom end of the market.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to put in context as well why you as the Tobacco Institute are interested in this research. You represent the industry, right?
TISA represents the legal industry in this country, and our members come from the farmers right through the value chain to the manufacturers, importers and exporters, everybody. We have a problem. Our industry, the industry that I represent, is bleeding. SARS is leaking money.
Sure.
So we decided that let us do the research and let us see, because the legal industry volumes have declined by 20% over the past 5 years.
Sure.
And even Treasury have admitted that the excise from cigarettes is declining. And even Treasury said it's because of a growth in the illicit trade. This is actually research that should be done by government, but they don't. So we did the research, we commissioned the research, and now we will take this research to government and say to them, there's the problem, there's the brands, there's the volumes, you're losing massive amounts of money. It's money that the fiscus now really needs. And we need a playing field that is level, so that all competitors can compete on a fair playing field where everybody pays their taxes. Yeah,
we know, of course, your industry has been under pressure, but I just wanted to put it in context as well. Just how important do you remain?
We remain important. Another independent study shows that the legal tobacco industry generates economic activity of 54 billion rand in this country, contributes 22 billion to taxes, contributes 23 billion to GDP, supports more than 100,000 jobs, 8 to 10,000 jobs on farms in deep rural areas with more than 30,000 dependents. So it is a significant contributor, and that is why it needs protection from government, which this industry is being undermined by illicit operators.
When it is paying its taxes. Let's add that one. Thanks very much, Francois, for coming in.
Thank you, sir.